Live from the Bronx. Imagine being called to an ambulance scene to a life or death assignment where you are the difference between life and death. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about fitness for EMS providers. Check it out. So we got called to the train station. Upon arrival, I find there's a lot of first responders and a lot of people with their cell phone out. It was in the news recently where the person was on the tracks and all we heard that there was an amputation. When the person was in the tracks, she was surrounded by police officers who were trying their best to help this lady, but they were not medical professionals and they didn't know what the priorities were in that very moment. And my partner was setting up the bags. We're on the train. They opened the doors. They turned off the tracks to turn off the electricity. And before I got on the tracks, I made sure that I asked the firefighters and the other first responders to confirm it. Then I went ahead, held on to the railing, held on to the handle inside of the train, and I jumped in the tracks to help the lady, put the seat collar on her, put her on the longboard, applied a tourniquet, and did everything we could do immediately because there's 10 minutes on the scene. Anything after that on the trauma call is too much because a trauma is a surgical disease. Trauma is not the type of situation where you stay and play. And getting this lady from the tracks of the train into the train and from the train up the stairs to the platform, from the platform onto the stretcher, from the stretcher to the ambulance, all the way to the trauma bay in the hospital at the nearest 911 treating trauma level 1 trauma center. There was a lot of mental and physical gymnastics pretty much going on. And that's what I want to talk to you about, the physical and mental demands of working as an EMT. I was asking the questions by a subscriber. Hey, do I need to be strong to work inter-facility transport? Do I need to be strong? What are the requirements as far as being healthy? And I noticed that you're most likely a new EMT. You're most likely a new paramedic. And I just want to tell you guys about the physical demand and mental demand, because fitness is not only physical, fitness is also mental. How resilient are you? How mentally fit are you? So the physical demands, unfortunately, they're not like they're taken under consideration when you start the job. But after you start working on the ambulance and you get hired, you'll find that some EMTs, the sedentary nature of sitting around and working overnight shifts, kind of like what I'm doing now, they start buying fast food, they gain weight and pick up negative habits. I know because it happened to me as well. And you'll find that a lot of first responders, especially at the ER bay, they end up being overweight, especially in EMS, because we tend to be a little bit less tactical than police officers and firefighters. So unfortunately, you'll see that a lot of paramedics, they do the job, but they don't do it at 100% of their capacity because of the fact that they're overweight and they're fat and they're obese. So think about it. If you're doing CPR on an old lady and you're breaking her ribs and now you're causing a pneumothorax, it's better, having a pneumothorax is better than being dead. But at the end of the day, we're here to do no harm. So if you can avoid breaking her ribs because of you being overweight and you throwing your 200 pounds, your 300 pounds on top of this person, and you could avoid it by having discipline in what you eat, then by all means do that. So you need to understand, carrying a person down a flight of stairs, you can potentially drop this person because of your lack of physical fitness, because you don't have a good grip. You're not strong. And you could just drop this person and then they fall down, hit their head and have a hematoma or anything along those lines, and you're doing more harm than good. So, long story short, unfortunately, majority of first responders, especially in the EMS field, happen to be out of shape. but that doesn't take away from the physical demand of the job. The physical demand of working as a paramedic, as an EMT, is sporadic. It's not something that happens immediately or on every single occasion. It could happen at the drop of a dime with, let's say you're driving to get a bottle of water at your local convenience store and there's a car accident right in front of you. There you go. It's like unexpected, but then it happens. So this is what I'm trying to tell you. There's situations where you are not expecting to be using your body, kind of like I did on that train job. I tell you, man, I had to lift her up over my head. I had to delegate responsibility. And that's another thing I want to mention to you. You got to have mental fitness. You have to be resilient. You can't let yourself fold under pressure. Ideally, you don't ever fall under pressure, but it's also understandable, especially if it's your first time being exposed to this type of situation. If you look at one of my videos that is titled My First Cardiac Arrest, I told you how I was looking at the medication. I didn't know what to do because I was under pressure. I didn't know what to do. At work, man, just got hit with an assignment. But basically what I was trying to say was, you gotta have mental fitness, you gotta have physical fitness, because, for example, that call that I was just on right now, a lady was having pseudo seizures. If you don't know what pseudo seizures is, she's having fake seizures. She was looking for us to give her some morphine, give her some medication to scratch that itch from the withdrawal because her methadone was out. So basically, in that instance, we had to have physical fitness because we had to carry this lady who was acting like she was having a seizure. And then we had to have mental fitness as well because we needed to practice patience. We couldn't really let her get us upset. We needed to be professional. We needed to be prudent. And most importantly, we needed to be patient advocates. So the whole time, me being mentally and physically fit allowed us to provide the best patient care and be able to transport this lady to the hospital of her choice. So in this video as well, and coming up right now, I want to also tell you, what can you do for yourself to be more resilient, to be more strong, to be stronger mentally and physically? You could do it while you're at work. Like right now, the back of the ambulance, I'm 5'9", I'm the average height for Americans. I could go ahead to the back and do pull-ups on the bar. Maybe your employer may not be happy with that, but at my weight, 170 pounds, it's willing to take it. Or you could do some pull-ups at the local playground. If you can't do pull-ups, just walk around. If you can't do pull-ups, then do some push-ups. If you can't do anything, then you're just being a bitch. You're quitting. You're not really trying your best. Because if you can show up to work, you can walk around and use your time wisely instead of surfing the web and looking at nonsense and letting the freaking eye candy that comes from social media keep you consumed. You can use your time wisely and listen to videos like this, or you can move your body and do things along those lines. And as far as your mental fitness, you need mindset training. You need to stick around people that'll talk to you the way I'm talking to you now, so that way you could look at the world in a different lens, and then your mindset could change. Because once you have high-level thoughts, you'll go ahead and have high-level habits. Once you have high-level habits, then you become a high-level individual. So yeah, you're entertained and you want to work as an EMT, and you already just started and you're new to this, but please understand, this job is physically demanding. It's not just lights and sirens. It's mentally demanding, because just because you could doesn't mean you should. You have to respect your patients and you have to do the best for them. So if you have any questions, if you have any comments, just comment down below. If you're in an EMT class, share this with your classmates. This will help you be a better EMT, a better paramedic. And this is universal wisdom from over 20 years behind this steering wheel of this ambulance. I hope this helps. Peace.